Hi, do you want to add some greenery to your home without a lot of fuss? Here are 19 of the easiest houseplants, in my humble opinion anyway. Welcome or welcome back, fellow plant lover. I am Nell. I do videos all about plants and gardening, both indoors and outdoors. So if you like that, you are in the right place. So a little bit about my background. I grew up with a greenhouse. My dad was an avid gardener and my grandmother also. I studied it in college. I've worked in the field of horticulture, landscaping, plants, flowers, all that forever. And I was also an interior scaper. I was in that field, the interior landscaping field. I was a technician for 2 years, which means that I ran around and took care of plants in offices, lobbies, airports, malls, pretty tough environments for plants. And then I became an account rep after that. So, and I've also grown a lot of plants in my various homes I've had in various parts of the country. So these are the ones that I feel are the best for beginning gardeners, or if you just don't have a lot of time. If you're like me, if you have 75 plus houseplants and you don't have a lot of time to fuss over each one. Now this one has a blog post to go along with it, so there'll be more information in the blog post, and there's also going to be related links to each plant. So if you want more information, be sure to go there. The link will be down below for you. What I'm going to cover here is mainly just showing you what the plant looks like so you can see how it looks, the form it gets. Most of my plants I'm showing you are at least over 3 years old, so you can see that, and I'm just going to touch on how it's used and what the light requirements are. So a little bit more on light. Most plants, the majority of them, their sweet spot is bright indirect light, which is a medium light exposure. They don't like light that's too low, nor do they like hot, windows or a strong sun or too much direct light. The other thing to know is that low light is not no light. They do like some form of light to survive, even if it's artificial light. I don't know that much about artificial light because I've never grown plants in it, but I know there are lots of bulbs you can buy at various, places to up the ante on the light factor in your home. All right, so let's get on to the plants, and enough about this. I have my computer here because I have the document of the blog post, and I want to go in order so that I don't get confused and leave one out and say, oh my gosh. So onward, we are going to start with the old standby, the Pothos. So this is a golden pothos. I have other pothos. I'm not going to show you multiple plants of the same genuses just because I'll be jumping all over my house and it'll take a while. But as you can see, the trails are hitting the ground again. I've pruned it 4 times this year. But this is either a tabletop plant or most commonly a hanging plant, and it does best in moderate light. It'll tolerate lower light, but it will revert to solid green in any of them. Up next is a spider plant. This one looks a little sad. My cat Tazzy loves to chew on it, so I just let him have at it every couple of weeks, but as you can see, they produce babies. This is a tabletop plant or a hanging plant, and they do best in moderate to high light. Wax plant or Hoya. It is the one in the front. The one in the back is my neon pothos, so it's a bit confusing. But this is a tabletop plant, most commonly a hanging plant, does best in moderate to high light. The ones with more solid foliage, this applies to any plant, can take lower light. And aloe vera. This is a tabletop plant. It does best in medium to highlight. Its leaves have many purposes, and yes, it is in a window. It's in a large window, but it is north facing. Gets no direct sun. Oh, a favorite of many, Monstera or Swiss cheese plant. You've got a glimpse of my other one next to the aloe vera there. But this is a tabletop plant when it's small, but more commonly a floor plant because it's very fast growing. It takes medium to highlight. It is getting some sun here, but that's because I have the blind open because of the video. I want all the light in here I can. And besides, it is mid-November, so it's not as strong as a summer sun. But this plant, people love because it gives a real tropical vibe. There are 2 or 3 plants on this list that I don't currently have, but I have had. And the first one is the Jade plant. That one does best in medium to highlight. It is most commonly sold as a tabletop plant. It can also become a floor plant, but it gets really wide and it gets very heavy too. Bromeliads. These are flowering house plants. This one is not currently in flower. As you can see, it has pups. It's a Guzmania. I'm going to insert pictures of the Guzmania in flower, the Acmea, and the pink quill plant, because those are the 3 most common, and they are tabletop plants, and they like medium light. They can tolerate lower light because most people don't keep them as ongoing plants or longer lasting plants. And probably what everyone thinks of as the easiest care plant is the snake plant. And these sort of run the gamut with light from low to high. They are oftentimes sold as tabletop plants. This one just happens to be a floor plant. It's over 5 feet tall. So this is one right here too. So you can see what one looks like smaller, but there's all sorts of leaf patterns, colors, all that fun stuff. Another popular plant is the ZZ plant, and it grows in a weird corner in my kitchen. Not a weird corner, it was just hard to get the tripod in there, so I brought it out on the island. But these are either tabletop plants, obviously this size, or my other 3 ZZs are all floor plants. And I'm going to show you one of them just so you can see how they spread as they grow. But they run the gamut from low to high light. They do best in, medium light. As I said, most plants do. They tend to get it a little stretchy, as most plants will. Right here is my Raven ZZ plant, so you can see how much that one has spread. It was very upright when I got it. If you want even more information on these plants and on houseplants in general, I've done an ebook, Keep Your Houseplants Alive. The link to that will be in the description box and also in the pinned comment below, which is the first comment. Next up are aglaonemas, or Chinese evergreens. This is my pink aglaonema. To the right of it is another pothos, and they take low to medium light. The majority of them are tabletop plants, but for instance, the Silver Bay is a larger one, and it is a floor plant. And now I'm going to show you an aglaonema that does tolerate lower light. This is Aglaonema Maria that grows in my office. It has a little bit lower light where it is, but it's got this darker foliage. I also have a red aglaonema, and that one appreciates more light. It needs more light to bring out that color. Now we have a fun and crazy plant, the Ponytail Palm. This one is on my island because it actually grows outside. I live in the Arizona desert. It grows outside year long, but this is most commonly a tabletop plant. I've only seen one indoors as a floor plant because they're very expensive because of the way, they grow slowly. So they are most commonly tabletop plants. And this one needs highlight to look and do its best. The next two plants on the list I don't have either, but the first one up is the cast iron plant. And we used to use this one a lot when I lived in California, but it is typically a floor plant and it's low to medium light. It's a really tough plant, obviously by the common name. And this next plant I love, but I don't have one. It is the Kentia Palm, beautiful palm. They are expensive, but they are floor plants typically. But if you want one that's 6 feet tall, buy it, 6 feet tall, because they grow slowly and it does best in medium light. The Drina Lisa, which is very closely related to the Drina Janet Craig. They are still around also, but this is a floor plant. And mine, I just cut the top off it. I don't know if you watched that video, but there is already new growth sprouting right there. And that's where I want it to come out because I had to cut the head off of it. So, and this one takes medium light is best, but it will tolerate lower light because of these dark green leaves, but not too low. Next on the list is the corn plant, which is also a Drina related to the Drina Lisa, but it is a floor plant. Also, it takes medium light is its sweet spot, will tolerate some lower light. It might lose some variegation, and it will also do okay in highlight, just as long as it's not, as I said, in any direct sun. And here we have the rubber plant. I can't do it on the tripod because it's so big. There it is. It's hitting the ceiling, but it's going to start to climb along the ceiling. This one obviously is a floor plant, grows fast. There's variegated forms of it also, and it takes medium to highlight. It's a really easy, I think this is the easiest floor plant if you have the light that you can get. Next, we have the baby rubber plant, which is the glossy green plant in the front, not the one in the back. It is a tabletop plant, does best in medium light, which is in here, and flowers in the summer, the late summer, but it is mid-November and it just put out a new flower there. So just in case you haven't seen one in flower, that is the flower, and it needs the light to flower. Like the spider plant needs the light to produce the babies, it needs the light to flower. And my aglaonema is all flower also. Wrapping up my list of easiest plants are the haworthias. These just happen to be zebra plants. I probably have 5 or 6 other haworthias also, but I'm just showing you these. These are the most common. Low to medium light. These can really tolerate low light. And they are tabletop plants for sure. The great thing about them, if you don't have a lot of room or you just want a small space you want to squeeze a little plant into, this is the one for you. I'm gonna add a couple of bonus plants in here that weren't in the blog post. This is the philodendron Birkin. It's a beautiful plant, really easy care, does best in medium light. It is a tabletop plant, and I just love the variegation on it. Maybe not the best light, but there's a little filtered light coming in here, is the Christmas cactus. This is technically a Thanksgiving cactus. I love these plants. I just think they're really pretty house plants. So if you get one for Christmas, don't get rid of it. They're also very long lasting. Mine is starting to put out buds. Almost every leaflet is starting to show a bud now. It used to bloom right around Thanksgiving, which is in 2 weeks. It is now turned into more of a Christmas cactus blooming time. And this is obviously a tabletop plant. Does best in medium light. It needs it to flower. It also needs a good amount of darkness for a period of 6 to 8 weeks to flower. But I've done blog posts on that. I'm not going to go into it here. So I have that smaller aloe vera inside, and I have this really big aloe vera out here. Gives me a ton of gel. Anyway, I hope you found this video to be helpful if you're new to gardening or just want some easy care plants. That's my list. I'm sure I will think, oh my gosh, I forgot that plant, I forgot that plant. But those are the old standbys I've loved for years. And again, there's a blog post to go along with it. There are also videos and blog posts on care, propagation, a lot of stuff on all those plants that I showed you. So I thank you so much for all your likes, your comments, your subscribes. I appreciate them. I have a lot more videos coming your way. Now let's get into our indoor gardens and make our worlds a more beautiful place. As always, I thank you for watching. Bye for now.